Attention. The movie guys love movies. Any comments about how, once again, Hollywood casts a much younger actor in a role previously played by an older actor are purely for entertainment purposes only. Isn't that right, Denzel Washington?
Yeah, what gives? The original Equalizer had a gray-haired white guy in the lead.
Yeah, heaven forbid you put someone old in the lead of a movie, Hollywood.
Yeah, actually, Denzel Washington is 59.
Huh?
That's actually 5 years older than Edward Woodward was when Woodward was cast in the lead role of the TV show The Equalizer.
Black don't crack, black don't crack.
I'd like to thank Paul Mooney for coming in and in studio earlier today and recording the Black Don't Crack bit just for the show. That was great.
Wasn't that one of our guests doing an impersonation of Paul Mooney? We say, in case we need it, could you do an impersonation?
Right.
But really, is Denzel 59?
He is.
The brother looks good.
Oh,
Yeah.
my God.
Really handsome.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Yeah.
He's ageless.
Isn't he, though?
He is.
I don't know how he and
Yeah.
Tom Cruise and some of these other guys do it. Actually, I do know why. Because they're artistic folks. I know plenty of people in my hometown who gave up 30 years ago and they look dead now.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, I mean,
You know what you see on their face? Hope. That's what they've got. That's what makes them look
Is
young.
that the young cream?
Yeah, hope.
Just a little bit of hope and a little bit of
Sense of purpose.
Dream.
Dream.
And now Denzel gets to go into like his Morgan Freeman years. Like that guy's
yeah.
gonna be around forever,
yeah, he has yet to even be supporting guys.
right?
What if he takes the contract for the Olympics away from Morgan Freeman? Would you be happy with that?
Oh, you mean voice-wise?
Voice-wise.
Voice is
well,
all
they-
Morgan. Voice all Morgan's got going sometimes. You know,
Yeah.
with the
Well, he's got the dead
hand
arm.
and everything. Yeah, I mean, he's not.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Well, he's got voice going to the degree of like
Yeah.
20 times the next person in line of being
Yeah.
the elder black voice authority.
True. Yeah, we can't take that from him yet.
No.
Can we?
Is he also tall, Denzel Washington? It seems like tall people age slower too.
Thank you.
Oh, I'll take that. Yes.
I'm 75.
Yeah,
Feet tall?
Great.
Yeah, I'm
board.
6 feet tall.
We're on board. We were going to talk about ISIS. We were talking about beforehand. Like we always open the show with some sort of thing that's topical. This week we stuck it on The Equalizer, which is opening this week, which is topical.
Yeah. First and foremost, we are journalists.
Yes. Well, if we would have talked about ISIS, but we didn't. So, because we were talking about this even right before we started the show.
Yeah,
Tough to come up with a joke that's really gonna
Yeah.
that's
Gonna
going to work.
land.
Yeah.
But for that crowd that knows there was a TV show called ISIS in 1976.
Was there?
ISIS, dedicated foe of evil,
Dedicated
defender
foe of
of
evil.
the weak, champion of truth and justice.
This is actually their recruitment video, right? The terrorists.
This is what they're playing on CNN.
They're the
just by the
dedicated
bombing
foe
last
of
night.
evil.
Here's the thing. In Syria right now, this is First Run. They're playing this on their TV First Run. So that's where they got the
Almighty
name.
ISIS.
They're like, oh, yeah, this is new. They're so behind. It makes sense.
Do they get our show in Syria?
They'll get that when we're dead.
Okay.
It'll
They do,
finally get
except they
over
call
there.
it the infidel guys.
Yes.
Infidel guys.
Hey, well, welcome to the Movie Showcast, everybody. Part of the vast and sprawling Movie Guys Empire, Infidel Guys Empire. Gentlemen, please rest your sphincters. You've reached ground zero for all things movies and comedy. We bring the two together right here on our show every week with jokes, rants, sketches, characters, bits, special guests, and more as we broadcast from the Admirals Club in the heart of Burbank Airport's flyover zone. They don't stop making movies, so we don't stop making comedy shows about movies, which means you can get a new show from us every week. Basically, search the Movie Guys or the Movie Showcast anywhere on the World Wide Webs and Googles, and we come right up. iTunes, SoundCloud, YouTube, Stitcher, and of course, themovieguys.net. Absolutely free, and we encourage you to subscribe. And if you do, still, no charge. Let's see. Speaking of the movieguys.net, you can go there now and find a couple of new reviews. The indie comedy Life's a Breeze, which we saw at the Phoenix Film Fest, finally got a release on Limited and on iTunes, so we reviewed that.
Oh, that's the mattress movie, right?
It is the mattress movie, yes,
Okay.
the Irish.
Dame Judi Dench?
No.
No.
Fake dude,
Fake-
Judi Dench.
fake Judi Dench?
Judi Dench.
Fiona Flanagan.
Was it?
Fiona Flanagan. She's awesome.
Yeah, she's great, right?
Yeah.
And the others and stuff. She's in a
she's
comedy role here, and it's like the next Waking Ned Divine or whatever. And then what's looking like frontrunner for Best Picture, Boyhood. We got a review up there. So check that all out. And you can find showcasts like the one you're listening to on a couple of internet radio stations as well. WBAD.net, Fridays at 4 p.m. and JonasMountRadio.com, Thursdays at 6. Who, last I looked, also not charging. I'm your host for the hardest working podcast on the airwaves, Paul Preston, here with Lee Caius, Adam Witt, and Karen Volpe. And joining us for the whole show is the producer and host of 5 Truths and a Lie podcast, as well as the driving force behind GeekGirlAuthority.com. Audrey Kearns is with us. Hey-o.
Thank you.
I've always wanted to be a driving force.
I'm very. I feel like I have a lot to live up to now.
I think it said
Driving
founder.
force.
I think it said founder on the website, but
I've
now
been
you can
always
add
kind of
driving
like
force.
I don't know if I should founder or creator or
Major
website
domo.
starter. I don't know what.
Reich Marshall.
Yeah,
Definitely major donor.
but not major boner.
No, but
Okay.
Not yet.
not yet. Exactly.
That's a
I've
great
been
name
a
for
trailing
movie.
contributor. I've never been a major driving force. I've been the trailing
Yes.
contributor. Yeah.
Which
Much
makes
like
you
here.
part of the team.
Yes, thank you.
It's like,
Every train needs a caboose. That's all I'm saying.
I mean, otherwise, when will we know when it's over?
Constant training. Yeah. Well, what are we going to do this week with Audrey? Let's see. We'll bust open the Movie Guys Time Capsule. We'll give you some movie news, throw down some reviews, go over a recent set visit we were all a part of.
Yeah.
And cover Karen's birthdays. And, of course, we want to prepare you, the humble moviegoer, for what's coming up in theaters as we bring you our patented movie previews. 2 films to discuss. First up, the aforementioned The Equalizer, known as the EQ in hip-hop circles. And later in the show...
In the town of Cheesebridge, when all good citizens are safe inside, beastly creatures roam the night.
Boxtrolls. Boxtrolls are monsters.
At least, that's what everyone's been told.
Boxtrolls.
Boxtrolls.
Boxtrolls. That's fun, right?
Boxtrolls.
Boxtrolls.
Sounds
Who
like
is
a
that guy?
porn fantasy, right?
It's all about people's boxes.
stop trolling my box. Come on.
It's like a new app. You just go, I want her box. I don't want her box. You just
Box troll.
It's a new
right?
dating site. Yeah.
She looks like she has a nice box.
Box
Swipe to the left.
Box trollers. That'll be the
Oh, Lordy.
Now, those of you new to the Movie Showcast, we should tell you we're not like other shows. We don't cover a lot of movie news, at least not often. We're a comedy show that loves movies. You want movie news delivered on a regular basis, you know where you can go? GeekGirlAuthority.com.
There you go.
Right?
Plenty of that.
Yeah.
But every now and then we do feel the urge to cover movie news in a little segment called The Latest.
Just got real sexy in here.
Damn straight, Audrey.
Sexy segment.
What do you mean it just got sexy?
Oh, sorry, Lee.
Been here the whole time, sitting right next to you.
Did you mention
I'm
the temperature
Audrey.
difference when Lee walked in? Or notice?
All right, now what is shaking and baking in Hollywood? Let's roundtable it. Our first story, Orion Pictures, a quality production house of the 80s and 90s that went bankrupt in 91 and eventually dissolved in 99, is being quietly revived by MGM to start releasing new films. Thoughts, Lee?
Quietly revived? This is how you want to bring back your production company? Quietly? Correct me if I'm wrong, but nobody knowing about your movies is the reason you went out of business in the first place.
Good point. Karen?
I hear their first new film will be The Town That Dreaded Sundown. Will this be the next Platoon or the next Fat Beach?
Well,
Fat
no one
Beach,
said
Fat
Orion
Beach.
was consistent. Adam,
Since when does MGM have the ability to revive anyone other than themselves?
spot on. Discuss.
Oh.
I'm excited. It's Town That Dreaded Sundown. This is actually a famous kind of horror movie from the, I think, early 80s or something.
It's a famous like B flick from the. I thought it was from the
But it-
70s or.
Maybe it's like
Yeah,
79 or something like that. But it always had a... I always remember all the original VHS covers
Oh,
when you
okay,
first go
yeah.
to the video store. And it was always the big flower head mask, like a bag, burlap head, like Jason from Friday the 13th Part 2. But that was big on
Like
the...
Pumpkinhead, like the original Pumpkinheads.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
so, and at night, he comes to mete out vengeance
Now, is this
or whatever. so.
they've remade it? Right?
Yeah. So they're
They're
But
not just
it's not a
releasing the old
remake. What they're doing is they're starting from when that movie ended. Like the killer's been dormant for decades,
Oh, okay.
and all of a sudden things start happening again that are much like what happened like decades ago. So now the town dreads sundown again.
Okay, kind of like Texas Chainsaw 3D, which we went to see.
Yeah.
Not a remake.
Yeah.
But in the world of that same
Yeah,
story.
yeah, it's the same town. What's the Texarkana? I think that's where the town it takes place in.
I imagine a lot of nasty shit goes down in
Texarkana.
I can tell you, do not try to pass an out-of-state traveler's checks at an International House of Pancakes in Texarkana.
Texarkana.
Not going to happen. Not going to happen.
Hang on, I need to write this on my hand.
I thought it was a Western.
I would have believed that.
Down that dreaded
As
sundown.
I read the line, I went, "Oh, they're revising a Western." And then now that you've explained it to me,
I gotta say, a Western would be a terrible way to re-announce you're
Right?
back in business.
That's what I'm
We're
thinking.
back in business. Let's go for the genre that succeeds every 8 years.
right?
Horror is like, at least we're going to make some,
Oh,
some
exactly.
money.
Yeah,
on
because
it.
you got the genre fans that are gonna.
And we paid
gonna love it.
$50 to make
Yeah.
it, right? So
Yeah, and they've remade all these classic horror movies. This is a pretty hip one to remake. I think that's really cool. That they're not just remaking some.
And maybe they move their way up into a Dances with Wolves type movie, which was an Orion film.
Yeah.
So yeah.
It was down in Louisiana, just about a mile from Texarkana, in them old.
Wait a minute.
fields back home.
Aren't the boys thirsty in Texarkana?
They may be. I don't know.
There's
that
beer in
song,
Atlanta.
though.
Yeah. There's beer in
Yeah,
Atlanta.
Texarkana.
And the boys are thirsty in Texarkana.
Texarkana.
Oh, this
Yeah.
is
A great singing song.
storied place.
I actually do have a question.
Yeah.
Why do I care that Orion is back? It's just the name of a company. These are all
Yeah.
shell companies anyway.
Yeah,
But
right.
back in the day, they made a lot of great movies.
But is it the same two guys running the joint? No.
No, but
I don't
it
know.
has a pedigree. It's like it's very
that's
different
gotta be
people
why.
running MGM now, but obviously MGM made Gone with the Wind, and now they just make Skyfall, and that's about it. But
It seems like it has the same idea of what Audrey was just saying, that the idea of the story is that this killer was dormant and now he's coming back because the situation is right. So Orion was dormant, now they're
I
coming
like that.
Oh,
back.
it's symbolic.
Wow, she's smart.
But to your point, that's true. Like when the Mickey Mouse Club came back, it's like, whoa, this will be great. And then it was like massive douchery. It's like, oh,
I
shit,
believe it's
this
Christina
sucks.
Aguilera and Justin Timberlake.
yeah, everybody got
Spears,
famous from that
all of them,
cast.
yeah.
Pretty good casting on that one. But no, it's actually, Lee is correct. I think it
What?
really is a movie.
Stop it.
Market 8, dude.
He's writing it down.
September 24th.
Because it is kind of a geek reference. Like we would go see, it was RoboCop and it was
Yep.
Platoon and it was a lot of stuff. It was Woody Allen movies for a few years
Yeah.
there. Were all Orion
And her
movies.
sisters, Radio Days, all Orion.
So it's the way that logo comes
gonna
out.
say,
We get so
spins,
used to
right?
it. Like, however, Vestron video came on too. I would welcome that back, even though Vestron didn't do a whole
Giant
lot
V.
of good.
with,
Yeah.
like, it was,
At the
yeah,
top of
slotted,
Ghostbusters, when you see her with the torch, that makes me excited.
Yeah, Columbia Pictures.
Yeah, Columbia.
Yeah.
I want to revive Caballero Pictures. Remember that?
No.
Caballero. That was a porn company.
Oh, there you go.
That's such a great name for a porn company.
You
Caballero.
get hard just starting to watch that come on. You're like, oh, here it comes.
On to our next story. although good luck Orion. Although MGM is now creating competition for itself. In our next story, it's still not broken, so they're still not fixing it. As Liam Neeson returns for one final go-round as Brian Mills in Taken 3, coming to theaters this January. Thoughts, Adam?
The official title is Taken with the number 3 in place of the letter E. For kids.
Your words, Norval, not mine. Lee?
Word is Liam won't even need to leave the set of A Walk Among the Tombstones. Just a quick wardrobe change, keeping the phone in his pocket, and his single-minded thirst for revenge.
Indeed. Karen?
So true.
Taken 3, eh? So they didn't go with Taken 3, more Takener?
Taken yet again.
Taken 3, the search for Spock.
Hey, he's got to find somebody.
Taken 3, The Rise of the Machines.
Taken 3 with a vengeance.
The Return of the King.
Last Crusade.
Prisoner of Azkaban. What is that? Azkaban?
Marzipan. The Prisoner of Marzipan.
Prisoner of Azkaban? Azkaban?
Azkaban?
Azkaban?
Happy
watch
New
a horror
Year.
mo-
Happy
horror
New Year
movie.
to
Harry
you.
Potter
Harry
movies?
Potter.
No, I have never watched a Harry Potter movie. This
Be
is
on
true.
TBS someday.
And then I'll watch all 3 of them over the weekend.
All right, so Taken 3, The Last Stand.
Taken Rises.
Gold member?
Taken Beyond Thunderdome.
The Taken Ultimatum.
And, of course, look who's taken now.
But I'm sure the question on everyone's mind is, will it be directed by Olivier Megaton?
Olivier Megaton.
Discuss.
They don't have a director yet, but they got a poster.
Fuck no.
I like anything with Liam Neeson in it. I know that you recently saw The Walk on the Tombstones without me, but I think that I would enjoy that, even though I'll have to bring a notepad because there's a lot of names, and that's hard for me.
There is hard nameage going on.
Yeah.
And what?
In the
Tombstones.
Tombstone movie, but
Oh,
I
okay.
am looking forward to this. I think
Tombstone
it's
or
great.
Taken?
I'm looking forward to both of them, but I definitely am looking forward to Taken 3. I love the Taken movies. I just think that...
Who's left to take?
Yeah, I was going to say, his wife and daughter are fine, right?
Yeah, well, I called this the last
wallet
one. I
was
called it
taken.
the last one, right? Because Neeson said, I mean, this is getting ridiculous at this
It
point.
is.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I can't even have any family around me. He was joking about that, but I think in this one it doesn't even have anything to do with that. It's more adventures of him. From what I've read, he gets wrongly accused of a murder or something, and so he gets involved.
That's
in the whole
good.
plot.
Change it up a little bit.
So technically, his reputation has been taken.
It really has. It really has. That's true. Good
Although
point.
that's always a tough thing because I always am very critical of Die Hard for never having been a Die Hard movie more than once. Like he should have gotten caught. He kind of did it with an airport, but after that, it was like save America and drive wherever you want, you know. And so it's like I don't know. I mean, I'm kind of
Seagal swept in and took the boat and the train. Right?
Yeah.
So he's like, what does he got left?
But after that, only one movie is still allowed to be a Die Hard movie, and it's Die Hard. Like you're allowed to do it. Like everybody else is the copier, you know.
Let's do a plane because we got to go. Oh, damn you, Snipes! I got nothing.
But that plane one with Liam was really good. What was that, last summer or last spring? I like that
Non-stop?
one. I like Nonstop. That was a good suspense.
I like that title.
I mean, he's like Denzel. Just put his name up and people will go see it.
And again, he was on the phone in that. He was texting. Anytime he's on the phone, we're fans.
Yeah.
He's on the phone and walk on the tombstones, you know?
But that's like
I'd like to play Words with Friends with him because he's the kind of guy who'd get right back to the game. He's on the phone.
He's got a phone all the time.
Yeah. He wouldn't make you wait 3 days for a word.
Quadridge is not a word. If you try and tell me that it's a word.
if you come up with the correct word, that'll be the end of it.
All right, our final story involves Star Trek 3, or look who's trekking now, I presume. The third film in the franchise reboot, and the rumor that after the successful involvement of Leonard Nimoy in the last two films, the new script has a role for Enterprise Captain James T. Kirk. But will he agree to boldly go into that film? Karen?
Word is that Shatner's on board, but his girdle is still holding out for more money.
Typical. Adam?
This is good. He'll give it that, Star Trek V: The Final Frontier vibe that people have been clamoring for in these new
Outstanding.
movies.
Lee?
Paul, I'd like to recreate how that meeting went, how the meeting will go, where they offer Shatner the part. Adam, you go ahead and play the role of producers of Star Trek.
Oh, okay. Well, Bill, you've been a crucial part of the franchise, and we were just hoping that...
Yes.
Accurate. Discuss.
Has William Takei made it into these movies?
George
Oh, my.
Oh, my God.
William
George
Takei.
Takei. I lost my mind. He's been in them, right? No?
No, he has not. He's
No,
been doing a
not
lot of
Takei.
the internet series. There's this one
Right.
series that's ripping it up right now on the line. On the line?
On the online?
On the online.
On the online, on the
interwebs.
AOL.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, I'd like to see him back before Shatner.
I do have a question about George Takei.
Yes, he is gay.
Oh,
Yes.
mystery solved.
All right.
Is he a good actor? Has he acted in things other?
Oh, I
than-
don't think so.
Oh, okay.
I don't
Okay.
think
So
so. This
we're not all like
This is Star
deluding-
Trek actors we're talking about.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
He's
I
really...
can't comment because it would be blasphemy while I'm wearing a Star Trek shirt.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to keep my mouth shut.
But no, he's not been in other stuff, right?
He does a lot of theater. He's actually
Does
he's
he?
really into.
Okay.
You probably know musical theater. He had written.
Oh, yeah, musical right now about the internment camp.
Yeah, because he was in an internment camp when he was a child. Yeah,
Crazy.
yeah.
Is he a good actor?
She can't answer.
I'm
Please.
hoping. No,
You
no,
ever,
no.
I think he is. Yes,
Yeah.
because no one else. You get so you're such a fan about his show that I can see no one else ever being Sulu except for him. Although John Cho's fine, you know. But I can't answer that fucking. Can I swear? Can
Yeah,
I swear?
Oh, yes,
Yeah.
we encourage
If you're that
okay.
frustrated,
Fracking
yes.
question. I can't
Yeah,
answer that
the
fracking
Fracking question. Oh, that's Battlestar. Blasphemy.
I'm crossing the streams.
Well,
Hey, all right.
There you go.
Am I in? Am I in?
You're in the club. In the club. You can stay.
they went through so many flip flops to get Leonard Nimoy into the original, and it was nice to hand
Yeah.
this new franchise off with a veteran member, which is, would technically be impossible, I guess, in the timeline. But of course, J.J. Abrams, messed around with the time continuity, which he had to, because there's no way to make anybody happy about that movie. I mean, long-term Star Trek fans. So you actually have to say, I'm literally not dealing with your continuity in any way,
Well, he's
so now you
created
got to do
a-
another one to get Shatner in there.
He's created another universe, so you can accept that universe is going on while the original series
Yeah.
universe is going on. That's
Yeah,
the way
it's
Nice
I,
move.
Sliding
but,
doors.
You know, the thing with having William Shatner back is though he is such when he's on screen, he's such an energy suck from everybody else in the room. No, I'm serious. So if he's doing a scene, like, is it going to be young Kirk meets old Kirk in some crazy quantum mess up? Is that what it's going to be? But I just feel, that he's going to take up the whole screen while Chris Pine is just like, yes, sir, yes, sir. I'm curious about
Well, he
that.
will take up the whole screen because his girdle hasn't agreed to terms yet.
There you
Boom.
go. And put a pin in it.
Yeah, it's
I like them doing go do new missions. Like, enough of that. We did that. Like, I just don't want to keep
and
going.
every time there's time travel, there's trouble.
Yeah.
There's just something, will not
Unless
be.
Marty McFly is involved, there's trouble.
Or
there's
unless Star
always-
Trek 4 is involved.
It's a very familiar trope, and if it's done right, it's a great trope. Like
I don't want
want
to talk about time travel. We talk about time
Yeah.
travel. We'll be here drawing it out with straws and drawing it.
Looper, a fine example of time travel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but
And actually, Star Trek 4 did it well, but First Contact had some screw-ups in it.
First Contact was great, man. I
It
love
was
that
great.
movie.
But if you analyze it, there's some time travel screw-ups.
Okay.
Because
All right.
you're inviting an element that will inevitably just have a problem.
Yeah.
But then, as a sci-fi fan, you just gotta let it go.
A perfect example of that, an equal version, is if you're doing a show where somebody is supposed to be such a great musician or singer, and they have the number one song. By the time they get to the number one song, it better be fucking great.
Right.
Yeah.
Because you always go, that was the song.
Wayne Campbell really loves this girl
Yeah,
in Wayne's
what?
World. I can't wait to hear her sing. And then you're like, man.
Music and lyrics, I work really hard to write this huge, it's an amazing song, and then it's a big song, and you're like, wow.
I always feel that about
That sucked.
Letterman's top 10. It's always like 7 through 4 are amazing,
Yeah.
and then 3, 2, 1 are just
You're
like,
like, okay. So
All right.
I would think
Yeah.
that would be the same problem that you would have with this.
What was the deal with Generations? That because Picard and Shatner should not share the same space time, but there was like a pocket of
it was
time.
called the Nexus, and it was some kind of wave that when it went through where you were on the planet or something, you are taken to the Nexus where you basically live a reality that you make up, right? And so Picard went to visit it to get Shatner so they can stop Malcolm McDowell, and Shatner died in the Nexus, so he's supposed to be dead. He's
Supposed to
dead
be.
in that timeline, not in
Yeah,
this,
but
and
now
not
we
in
have a
the
new
J.J.
timeline.
Abrams
So basically,
timeline.
since that Shatner never died, now in the future of Chris Pine's life, that's what he'll look like, right?
Yeah.
Maybe
So-
he'll look in the mirror and see the old Shatner.
Say, man, I need to
Right?
start doing some sit-ups.
Some crazy
Right?
future mirror.
I would take some Nexus action instead of time travel.
Well, that's the thing about Generations is I always would look at the Nexus and I'd say, oh, that seems really cool. I could do whatever I want and live forever and just always make my own reality.
And then,
sound
but
cool.
when you get to do that, Picard
sounds
really wants
cool.
to just live in like some crazy Dickens
Victorian.
novel. Yeah,
with horrible actor kids.
yeah.
Daddy,
I would
do you
Now,
like my
I would imagine
present,
a little better
Daddy?
for myself.
I buy that Shatner just wants to chop wood all day
That was, yes.
because that's all he was doing.
And
I'm having a
everything-
good
yeah,
time.
everything's like a new moment. Oh, wait, breakfast. Oh, that's that girl. I forget the girl's name.
He died twice though, because he technically died in the ship, right?
Yes.
And died in the Nexus.
Yes.
Wow, it takes 2 times to kill that guy. I'm not
believe
I'm not
it.
surprised he shows up in the
It's
next
Kirk.
one. You can't kill him. All right, that's the latest.
I was out on Nexus too, Karen.
I was in an alternate universe during
No
that whole
clue.
conversation. I was there with you though, Lee.
Yeah.
Well,
I
we have a
think
Star Trek authority here, so
She just nailed that
questions-
shit.
Nailed that.
I know,
Yep.
In fact, I would
We were
prefer you guys
sharing-
to not talk while Audrey.
We were sharing a moment about how
Trek
impressed we
knowledge.
were.
I'm
I'm
learning
very
stuff.
upset that my mind went blank on Malcolm McDowell's character because I just saw a Q&A with him where he's talking about it. I'm so upset that my tongue is tied. I can't think
If
of
we could have physically moved, we would have stepped back.
Yeah, that was a total step back.
That was
moment.
us just going,
in
Wait a
respect
minute.
and awe.
Thank you.
just
Thank
watch
you.
the tape. You'll see we both went.
and a lack of desire to discuss the genre.
Come on, let's go, let's go.
We will not add anything new or interesting. We will fuck that up.
That is true. All right, we'll get to more news later, but that's not all the latest as we open the Movie Guys Time Capsule
Ooh.
later. That'll be more the latest, except from 25 years ago. But now on to our movie previews. Now, remember how 2014 started with an influx of male movie stars, and we had all these macho movies as we celebrated.
January.
Yeah, well, now in September here we have Idris Elba and Denzel and Liam Neeson, so we have...
Mantember.
That doesn't really work, man. Timber.
Except Manber.
Really? That's not even...
September. Screw it.
All right, Adam. Let's talk about Denzel in The Equalizer. Here we go.
Let's. Want to see a walk amongst the tombstones, but you don't like white people? Then try The Equalizer with Denzel Washington.
If you don't remember the original TV show, then it stands to reason that on Wednesday nights at 10 p.m. in 1985, you were bigger fans of Spencer for Hire or Arthur Haley's Hotel.
Hey, Paul, I know we're losing some of our audience with that reference, so let's just say The Equalizer was kind of Hunter meets Cagney and Lacey.
But if you're everyone and haven't heard of The Equalizer, then we'll figure out if this brand new thing is going to kick ass or not.
Oh, you farted. No, it wasn't me. It was the chair, eh?
In The Equalizer, Denzel Washington plays McCall. That's right, no last name.
Call me Snake.
McCall is a man who's shed his mysterious past, but has retained his mercenary skills and tactics, which he's never going to use again because he's out of the life.
Which we love. McCall wants to put his old life behind him and lead a quiet life in relative obscurity. So he goes to work at Home Depot as a sales associate, all but assuring that nobody will ever find him. Only occasionally helping an innocent get over on a small crime. Why? Because he's such a hero that he can't help but fight crime.
No doubt, Employee of the Month. But when a young girl, Terry, is pursued by the Russian mob, he cannot stand by and he must aid the helpless.
Just when I thought I was out, they pulled me back in.
I'm giving this preview a rating I rarely give a movie. Tom Cruise-tastic. I'll take this movie every time. Guy who's so reserved you'd never guess he's the baddest mother on the continent, pushed to protect the innocent over his own life, but never mind because somehow, some way, guys like this do not lose.
You killed him? No, I shot him. Bullets in the fall killed him.
This movie is directed by Antoine Fuqua, for people who think that name is fun to say. Fuqua. Come on, everybody, join me.
Fuqua.
Fuqua.
It's like a meditation. Fuqua.
It sounds like a French appetizer.
Fuqua.
I'll have some Fuqua, please.
Madame Fuqua.
Fuqua is the director of Training Day, which earned Denzel the Academy's Award for Special Achievement in having more on him than King Kong. Did I say that right?
Yeah. Well, seems the dings for this have added up pretty nicely. I think this movie will kick ass.
As I write on the score sheet for every preview screening I've ever gone to, give me more of the same but different.
This movie is filled with one-name characters. Terry, Mandy, Teddy, Ralphie. I wonder who's going to get killed in this movie. Someone simply named Peterson or Vladimir Pushkin? Note to all the struggling actors, if you can get cast as Jenny or Remar, don't expect to get a trailer on set. You'll be changing behind craft services, and you'll be home before lunch.
If someone has a problem, if the odds are stacked against them, if they have nowhere else to turn, McCall will help. He is the Equalizer. Wait a second, where have I heard that before?
If you have a problem, if no one else can help, and if you can find them, maybe you can hire the A-Team.
Oh, well, I'm definitely going to like this movie.
All right, there you go. Equalizer.
I think I was watching Connie Selica and Arthur Haley's Hotel in the 80s.
Arthur Haley did a
Was
hotel?
that, is that what you said, Arthur Haley's?
Arthur Haley's Hotel.
I was a big Robert Urich fan, so I was with Spencer for Hire.
Yeah.
I loved, what's the word?
Vegas.
He was, man, and he had that big freaking phone.
Oh, yeah.
Spencer for
great
Hire
show.
had Hawk, right? From, what was his name? Hawk? The badass, big, tall, black guy? Deep Space Nine, right?
Avery Brooks?
Yeah, isn't that Spencer for Hire?
I didn't watch Spencer
Oh,
for Hire.
okay.
I watched Hunter.
She was watching Hotel.
Oh,
Yeah, I
okay.
loved Hunter. And I loved Matt Houston.
Oh,
Remember Matt Houston, Private Eye?
Matt Houston with Lee Horsley, star of
Lee
Sword and the
Horsley.
Sorcerer. One of the greatest movies ever.
Oh, my God.
I
that's
was in
fantastic.
bed by 10,
Directed by Albert
so
Pune.
I didn't see it.
But remember, I'm 75.
Oh, that's right. So.
I've seen everything.
I didn't see anything after 10.
Don't know if you have done this, but just for fun, I went to the website for The Equalizer today, and there's a bunch of links on it.
No, I've not done whatever you're saying. I'm sure of it.
The Equalizer website?
Yeah, I haven't
Denzel
gone
kicking
to
ass?
that.
I had to go there and see it. They had plot, of course, they had credits you could click on, watch the trailer, da-da-da-da. And then it said, nowhere to turn, call 617-500-0071.
So you did?
So I did. And we'll just call it again here and see if we can't hear what's happening. It's entertaining, then it's more entertaining.
If you're calling this number, it's because you have nowhere else to turn and you need my help. You're not alone. There are others out there like you.
Para continuar en español, oprima el número 2.
Did he just
To leave a message for the Equalizer, press 1. For an urgent video message, press 0.
I haven't gotten this far. What
Press
do we do?
0.
Press 0.
I want a video message.
Press 1 to opt in. By opting in, you grant Sony Pictures permission to store your
There you go.
I need the Equalizer's help. I don't need Sony Pictures' help.
No, what you opting in for? That they would use your name, image,
Probably
and likeness?
they'll take the best videos and put them up online as part of.
Oh, we need to do
promo.
Movie Guys.
Oh, we can just advertise the Movie
I
Guys.
thought maybe he'd just show us his penis or something.
No,
Wow.
we can only wish that that's actually the case.
Let's record one at the end of this. and
Opting
see if
into
we-
the cloud, is that it?
Yeah. Nothing can go wrong there, Paul. This reminds me of the Fight Club website, which I do believe still exists.
Yeah, I think it does.
Oh, I used to go to that all day for hours clicking through those random buttons on the Fight Club website.
Yeah, they had like clothing stores and they had a whole thing.
You could
for
do like a
Fight
little
Club.
fight. You could like enter your stats and then pick to fight somebody like Gandhi or Abraham Lincoln or something. And they would tell you how well you did based on your physical
Oh my
attributes.
goodness.
Yeah.
Snakes on the Plane. Remember they did a phone campaign where you can like, I could put in Paul Preston and press a button, and then you would get a voicemail from like Sam Jackson.
Oh,
St.
that's
Paul.
brilliant.
Yeah.
Get these damn snakes off the plane.
Yeah.
Hey, Paul. I'm having real trouble with these snakes on this plane. I need you to help me,
Pause.
Paul.
Yeah. I never thought the guy from the original Equalizer was very imposing. Where I think Denzel's imposing.
That's true. He's very proper.
He was very proper.
Yeah. I was watching Cheers, so I didn't. But
Was
it was
it on
recently
after
in The
10?
Wolf of Wall Street. Referenced. Remember, Rob Reiner was watching The Equalizer with his wife when he first got the call, and he was all pissed. God damn it! I'm watching the. He was always yelling in that movie. It was so great. And he was watching. The
And then he gets on the phone all calm and collected.
Yeah. What I missed, son of a bitch.
Well, Denzel's going to give Jack Reacher a run for his money. He's the next Black Tom Cruise.
Perhaps
He's
the
not-
only.
Oh, okay. Yeah, who was the first Black Tom Cruise?
Or Tom Cruise is the white Denzel.
The white Denzel. Yeah.
Which one is it?
Yeah.
Who's older?
Came around about the
Denzel.
same
I
time.
think Denzel. Yeah, because Tom Cruise he's in his early 50s or is he 50?
Tom Cruise about 52. Yeah, so
52,
about
yeah,
7 years
so-
apart. I know. You hate hearing that, don't you?
I still hope to look as good as Tom Cruise someday, and he keeps getting older.
I know.
And I still try to chase that, but oh well. I was
You'll
hoping he'd hit a
probably do
wall.
Fine, men age well. I mean, like at least women always find older men attractive.
We're
where
more
you guys,
forgiving.
you
That's all it
guys-
is.
You guys, once we hit a certain age, you're like, whatever.
I agree.
Yeah, we're definitely
Those-
more forgiving.
Those lines under your eyes
agree.
don't give you wisdom. No, it just makes you old. Thanks.
Then again, we have to deal with penises. They're not pretty. Like
Oh,
guys
they get
can
less
have
pretty with
boobies.
age.
Yeah,
They
and
got
boobies.
boobies
are nice, and ass is nice.
But boobies you can fix. I can't.
I'm saying
You
we
can get a penis extension if that's what you're talking about, Lee. I
Or
don't know if
maybe
that's
a-
what you're
Well, no,
talking
but
about.
if boobies droop, you
dick
can
bit-
bring them up. Can I get a scrotum lift?
I hope.
I bet you can.
right?
I want
the
one.
healing process, I'm sure, is
A
terrible.
scrotum
See,
lift?
I'm not crazy.
I've had this
right?
thought. I
Yeah.
worked on a plastic surgery show. And I was like, why don't men get a scrotum lift? Wouldn't it be nice to have that thing out of your way when you're crossing your legs and stuff?
Does it start to sag and sink
Yeah.
lower the older you get?
Into the water of the toilet bowl.
Oh my goodness!
Now
that
this is
sucks.
great. Lee's got a very. Everyone, listen, take notes.
know.
He's got a very good point that he's going to share with you
Yes.
about your scrotum.
Gravity works on this every day of your life. And my
Right.
mother took care of her father, and she warned me. She said, you really should start wearing briefs because it will reach the water when you sit in the toilet.
Well, it's the same thing for boobies. I mean, because
If your boobies are reaching the water, you've got problems.
yeah, definitely.
They reach the table when you sit down for dinner. That's their version of the water.
When you're putting a book on your boobies to read at night, that's a problem. Not that I've done. Not that I am doing that.
Not that I've done that with Robert A. Heinlein.
Anyway.
All right, so that was equal.
But I love
everybody.
heroic
But that's
stuff. This
an
is Jack
important
Reacher-tastic.
PSA from Lee there about your scrotum.
That's
It
true.
is.
That's true.
I'm gonna start
Speaking of
taking care of
scrotums,
mine.
this is very much like a Tom Cruise movie. All right, brought it back around.
All right, our second film of the weekend, Knickknacks and Bric-a-Brac come to life in The Boxtrolls. Boxtrolls. Brought to you by Hummel. Lee, let's talk about it.
Based on the book Here Be Monsters. so it is a movie. A popular book from Talk Like a Pirate Publishing.
No.
This is the tale of an orphaned boy raised by underground, cave-dwelling, trash-collecting trolls. Wait, so they changed the title because why?
Perhaps the concept of monsters might be too frightening for children.
But they kept the child abandonment, physical deformity, and the poverty. Oh, I see.
Well, let's listen to some of the voice talent on display here. First of all, there's Ben Kingsley.
They will imprison us, they will fine us, they will seize our possessions, but they cannot take away our self-respect if we do not give it to them.
Ooh, so who do you pair him with? Tracy Morgan?
I'm starting my own franchise baseball team, and I'm building a stadium right behind Cabrini Green.
And Elle Fanning as Winnie.
No bother.
Paul, I'm worried that this film doesn't know how to be an animated movie. They've cast as voice talent Jared Harris, Simon Pegg, and Nick Frost. But they're British, and they're quite good. See, what I'm getting at is we've been keeping an eye on cartoon films, and, well, what's an animated movie without the distinct voice talents of Lady Gaga or Pitbull or Ryan Reynolds, for that matter? Way to go, movie, relying on solely a well-crafted and interesting story coupled with visually engaging animation. Ha! We'll see how far that gets you at the box office.
From what we can tell, the box troll who isn't befriends a precocious girl. And like all women, she immediately sets out to change him.
Who are you, boy?
I'm a box troll.
Then let's see you fit in your box. Mm-hmm.
Please help us.
You need to look like a proper boy. Yeah.
I think she's just concerned that the older he gets, his scrotum is going to touch the box.
She's like, get your shit up in that box. Yeah, that's smart.
Tuck it in, box troll.
Box troll. Tuck it. Scrotum in the box.
The Boxtrolls takes place in a fictional town of Cheesebridge.
Sure.
But
Cheesebridge.
with the brick roads and castles everywhere, not to mention the accents and bad teeth, I think we can safely assume it's based on a town somewhere in Great Britain.
Notting Hill.
When the town's villain, Archibald Snatcher, comes up with a plot...
No, wait, I'm sorry, I'm stopping you.
Archie Snatcher.
Didn't he play second base for Cleveland back in 1948?
Comes up with a plot. He is a box troller.
I
Comes
was
up
just
with a
about
plot
to
to
say that.
get rid of the box trolls. Egg, the kid's name here, and Winifred devise a plan to save Egg's family and all the box trolls. From what I've seen of the trailer, this plan involves a lot of running and screaming.
That's how it always starts. And later there's running and screaming.
It's a brilliant plan.
That's just how they advertise these things.
It really is true.
And by the way, why would you have a town villain? Seems like you could do away with a lot of your civil unrest by simply getting rid of your town's designated criminals. Hey, the schoolhouse is on fire. Well, better go look up Irwin, the town arsonist. Hey, Sister Mary Hannigan is pregnant. Time to round up Derek, the town rapist.
Oh, no.
Everyone's wearing a box, so now everyone, right down to the homeless, can dress like a box troll for Halloween.
Hey, Paul, do you think if that trailer played Eminem like the Equalizer, that you'd like it a little more?
I wish I did.
With the screams and everything?
I wonder. I mean, I don't think there's one of these I've missed from Leica. I mean, they're super impressive movies.
Yeah.
I'll go.
Yeah.
But
I thought the trailer was great.
You have to. Well, they did have some kind of crazy dance music in this trailer.
They did.
Which
they did.
does not quite jive with the fairy tale they're trying to tell.
Yeah, I mean, it probably just took every instance where someone's screaming and put it in the trailer because, like, that's how they do these trailers.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's all the screaming that's in the whole movie, but somehow that's just,
I
to
think
get kids excited.
The plot is, well-trodden ground, though. I mean, like Jungle Book, raised by the animals, or the boy raised by wolves. This guy's kids raised by box trolls.
Yeah.
Is that really a thing? I don't know any British people to ask them if they grew up with box trolls as a character from their childhood
Like the
mythology.
Boogeyman or something?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Like,
Is it playing on something or is it inventing something new? Because I think that's what looks cool about it. Is like, oh, it's a new legend that's like, and then you can then reference that as a legend that exists, much like Edward Scissorhands.
Well, I don't know. I don't know anything about that book. I don't know how old it is or anything.
Yeah.
But that's how far it goes back.
Here be monsters.
Here be monsters.
Here be monsters.
Yar.
By what? Talk Like a Pirate books? Is that what you said?
That's who put it out. Yeah.
Fantastic.
All right, well, listen, let's talk about this plot for a second, because the story is so wacky with characters like Mr. Pickles and Lord Portly Rind. It almost seems like they came up with it through a game of Mad Libs. A community of quirky, mischievous, cave-dwelling, trash-collecting trolls live beneath the streets of Cheesebridge, where they've adopted a young orphan named Eggs. When an exterminator wants to do away with them, they go above ground to team up with a young girl named Winnie to save Eggs' family. I figured if that crazy shit was greenlit, we could do that. So let's do a little something we like to call Plot Libs.
Plot Libs!
Patent pending.
That's awesome.
All right. So, all right, let's do it real quick here. I need Adam. Give me an adjective.
An adjective.
I don't know my
hairy.
grammar.
Hairy. All right.
Oh, wow.
Audrey, give me an adjective.
Frilly.
Frilly. All right. And let's get a habitat of some kind, Lee. Place you would live.
A place I would live.
Bungalow?
Yes, a bungalow. No.
A bungalow?
Yeah, let's do bungalow. Bungalow 12.
All right. Karen, let's get a noun.
Is that a name of something?
Yes, person, place, or thing.
Tommy
you
the
were
dog.
in Schoolhouse Rock.
I know. Tommy the dog that I found on the street today.
Okay, I'm gonna put dog.
Dog.
Yeah.
But it's Tommy the dog.
Well,
that you
I
found
didn't
on
need
the
a
street
proper
today.
noun. Adam, give me a fantasy species of some kind.
Fantasy species?
Ooh, that woman in Florida with 3 boobs.
Yeah.
Oh, no,
Try movie.
the woman from
Devil.
Mars.
What's her name?
Total Recall?
Total Recall with 3 boobs. Well, okay, but
As long
we gotta have a
as she
name.
has
Hold on.
3 boobs.
Well, let's what are they called in Avatar?
I was just about to say Avatar, the blue people.
Navi.
Yeah,
Navi.
All right.
Yeah.
They had 3 boobs?
No.
No, they were just super
Let's
tall.
let's get a place, Audrey. A famous
So
place.
much more money
Say
if they
famous
had,
place,
right?
Like Paris or something.
Made a lot of money.
Kathmandu. All right. And let's get a name, a proper name, Lee.
Richard Nixon.
Yeah, go ahead with Nixon.
That's already
I'll
written.
take Nixon.
I wrote that down.
Richard Nixon.
Okay.
I was actually thinking president.
Karen,
I was gonna go
let's
with
get a
mine.
job.
A taxidermist.
All right. And
You're the taxidermist.
let's get another name. Let's get another name, Adam.
Proper name?
Yeah.
J. Edgar Hoover.
All right.
If J. Edgar Hoover came back and
Boom. We've just
destroyed
created.
us. Oh, sorry.
We've just created a movie, not unlike the folks over at who made We Be Monsters.
All right, let's pitch it.
We Be Monsters. Is that what it is?
That's
Monsters.
They're a
We
rap
Be
group.
Monsters.
We Be
Won't
Monsters.
you like monsters?
A community of hairy.
Do you want to
frilly-
play like some sort of music under it, like
don't have any.
Boxtrolls music? Okay.
Dun, 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 dun,
A community of hairy, frilly, bungalow-dwelling, dog-collecting Navi
Yes.
live beneath the streets of Kathmandu, where they've adopted a young orphan named Richard Nixon. When a taxidermist wants to do away with him, they go above ground to team up with a young girl named J. Edgar Hoover to save Richard Nixon's family.
I want to see that.
A young girl
You've
named
been greenlit.
And you know what's
that actually
great?
worked.
A young
Totally.
girl named
J. Edgar.
Hoover.
That's
J. Edgar.
hilarious.
And
Yeah,
he would.
he wanted to be a young girl.
Right?
And Nixon is so old and decrepit, he looks like he'd be taxidermied.
Yeah.
It's perfect.
An evil taxidermist is the villain. I love that. He's the town villain.
And the Navi. Yeah.
He wants to stuff them all.
He lives be amongst you, and you don't even know it.
That's right.
Yeah.
We're having an election for town villain, so be careful. These guys are going to be competing pretty hard. Might be killing some people in the streets.
You watch. You're going to read a story in the Hollywood Reporter like a year and a half from now about how some movie was written based on our formula for plot libs.
Yeah, they're like
thing.
hairy, frilly Navi.
Good thing our song had patent pending in it.
Yes, which is legally binding
Yes.
in 48
I
states.
understand. Do they live in caves? No, bungalows.
Well, it is Hollywood.
Rather
after
enjoy
all.
themselves. Yeah.
All right.
All right. Well, enough tomfoolery. Let's get into some Audrey foolery.
Enough Chuck Woolery.
Yes, as we get to know our guest a little better. For those who need reminding, she runs GeekGirlAuthority.com and the podcast 5 Truths and a Lie.
Yes.
Audrey Kearns.
Thank you. Oh, the applause is awesome.
It's not a show until you have the applause effect.
Now I think Audrey is the first return guest.
Ooh.
Well, Audrey played with us on the
long time
old
ago.
videos.
Yeah.
We were doing the 2-person videos and the live
And
show.
we did a live show together.
Yeah, so you're like
Yeah.
our Steve Martin. You keep coming back.
That's right.
She's tied with Buscemi, technically.
Stoney's been
Oh, that's
there, too.
right.
So there's like a
Oh,
five-timers
yeah.
club. That
There is. We got our own little.
That's fantastic.
We have to do a sketch congratulating ourselves for that, the way Saturday Night Live does.
I love that.
So let me ask you what I ask everyone who comes on the show. What is your favorite movie of all time?
The Great Race.
The Great Race?
Blake Edwards?
Yeah.
The Great. Oh,
Yeah.
that movie's
Tony
hilarious.
Curtis and Natalie Wood and ridiculously good performance by Jack Lemmon and who played Max? Push the button, Max. Played Columbo.
Peter Falk.
Yeah. Best villain team ever was Jack Lemmon and Peter Falk. And I just saw that with we left. I was a kid in the 70s, and we were leaving Hong Kong, so I was in the military. And so we'd already moved out of our apartment.
You were young to be in the military.
I'm 75.
Oh, that's right. I remember.
And
She fought in the Korean War.
So we were staying at these friends of my parents' apartment because they were out of town the last couple days before we moved to the States, and they had what was called, it was this machine that you put this rectangle thing in, and you pressed a button, and it would play a movie.
Zoink.
Never seen that before.
How magical was the VCR when it came out?
Oh my goodness! And they had this movie called The Great Race, and that was the hardest I'd ever laughed up to that point in my life.
Oh.
You know. That's
cool. Any good movie ends in a pie fight, I always say.
And it is the best pie fight of all time.
It is.
Because Jack Lemmon plays two characters. He also plays the
does.
Prince of Pottsdorf. And he's
a Boxtroll.
He's ridiculous. Jack Lemmon, oh my God. I'm telling you, it's got this melodramatic part of it too, where like Professor Fate, which is Jack Lemmon, and his Igor or whatever, Max, are the bad guys, and they're always in black and they're bumbling. And then Tony Curtis is always in white, and when the camera's on him, his eyes actually sparkle. They were able to do that special effect, and it's ridiculous and wonderful. And God, I love that movie.
And years later, what was it? The old cartoon they had that was basically that, but a cartoon, right? With Muttley and Dick Dastardly.
I don't know.
Yes.
And chased Penelope Pitstop around, and it was kind of a big chase.
The Wacky Races, I think is
Something
what it
like
was
that,
called.
yeah.
Yeah, because it was a race around the world. That's what they were doing. It was a race around the
Great
world.
Race did it
Wasn't
live
Speed
action.
Buggy?
That is a live action cartoon.
No, I think it was
That's all I
Wacky
know.
Races.
Wacky Races.
But the Great Race is a live action cartoon, right? It is.
Basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now,
it's so cartoonish.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
From afar, I always thought that was kind of the poor man's "It's a mad, 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 mad world."
No,
right?
It's
very
own
different.
movie, and it holds up. Like there are certain movies that I'll force my 21-year-old stepdaughter to watch, and just to see what she thinks.
Shit,
will hold
you
up.
are 75.
I am. And made her watch The Great Race, and she'll never tell me she likes something because she's too cool for that. But when she was in high school, and that Halloween, she puts a picture up on Facebook of her as Professor Fate and her friend as Max, like doing this whole cosplay thing in high school. And I'm like, oh, sweet. Never worked with Star Trek. She does not like anything sci-fi.
Ouch,
I failed.
that's gotta sting.
It hurts because I've helped raise her. I'm like her third parent since she was a baby.
Like her third breast.
Yes.
The third teat from which she suckled.
Does she think George Takei is a good actor?
Could you speak
I don't
for
think
her?
she would know who George Takei is.
Now, I was
which is
expecting.
disappointing.
Does she know William Takei?
Yes.
William Takei.
They're Facebook friends.
William TK.
Yeah. That movie. I was actually. I took a film studies class in high school and I had to watch The Great Race.
Yeah.
Because of just. It was like a great example of comedy.
It is.
I just wrote an
It's
article
just so good.
that I'm going to post to the movieguys.net this week about Gene Hackman because I miss him. We went to the 40th anniversary screening.
Not dead, Paul.
Yeah, he retired though. He's 10 years out
He made
now.
me think for a second there. I'm like, wait, he's alive. Come on.
Just hadn't made a movie in 10 years. And I was saying in the article,
What a waste of
like,
talent.
what a nightmare that it must be for casting directors who see a script and just go, well, Gene Hackman. And now they have to like have casting and look at headshots and do callbacks. It's like, Jesus.
Have
what
you
a pain in
read
the ass.
anything about as to why? Did he just retired?
Yeah, he's just done.
He's just decided.
Yeah, I think Nicholson's done too, so I hope you enjoyed him.
But Hackman's one of my favorite all-time actors. He's
Oh,
just amazing.
well, that's why I brought him up because of Lemon.
Yeah.
Both those guys making it look easy, right?
they
With
make it
Newman,
look so easy.
Redford,
Yeah.
Duvall, Burton, Richard Burton, all making it look easy.
Mhm.
And it's just Lemon, man, was just so great at that. Even when he's being crazy
Yeah.
in The Great Race, it just looks like it's effortless
Push
for him to do that.
Max.
I was thinking about that. There used to
love
be
that
a
line. I keep
world,
saying it.
a lot of my life had Jack Lemmon as an actor in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now kids today.
And it runs the spectrum.
I gotta make a drop, a Kids Today drop. Kids saying that way
But
too
it's
much.
funny because like
Kids today.
he was a standard. He was a staple. Who was he with in Grumpy Old Men? Walter Matthau was
Walter
it?
Matthau.
Walter Matthau.
These guys were real actors. They weren't Hollywood. They weren't like George Clooney can act, but what's going on over there? Some shiftiness. No. But George Clooney can act, but those two guys are really actors.
Well,
right?
George
They're not,
Clooney
like,
is a great
glamorous.
actor if he's doing George Clooney roles, where like you were saying, Jack Lemmon. I mean, his whole career runs the spectrum.
Right?
You know,
Some
I'm
Like It
doing
Hot
drama,
all the way
comedy.
to Glengarry Glen Ross.
China Syndrome.
Yeah.
And then
And
I
The
think
Great
one of
Race.
his first
This is
movies, Mr. Smith Goes to Washington. Is that it? That's going way back. I'm
Well,
75.
Mr. Smith is
That's Jimmy Stewart.
Jimmy Stewart.
It was Jimmy
Yeah,
Stewart?
Jimmy
Okay.
Stewart, yeah.
All right.
That was like 1939.
You'd have to be
I was
really
so
old.
young that I
41
don't
or
remember
something
that's
that
what it
came
was.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just remember Jack. Jack was a guy in movies that you would see.
but you know, our kids are. Matt Damon's going to be an old man who's been in movies since before they can remember when we're old people. So it'll just be the same
Whereas
thing.
we always remember the beginning point, which is Good Will Hunting and forward.
Yeah.
Where like my
I think you're right. I think I can see Matt Damon when he's 70
Yeah, he
pulling
does comedy,
pulling
he
a
does
Jack
drama.
Lemmon.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah. But they also seem a little more glamorous. Was Jack Lemmon ever glamorous? Was Walter Matthau ever glamorous? Was Jimmy Stewart ever glamorous?
No, I think it's like you're saying.
But other
they're
people were.
actors.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
They did as much theater as they did film. But do you remember in the 1980s, Thunder in Paradise, or 90s? The 90s.
Hulk Hogan?
Yeah.
The show?
His partner in that show, I forget the character's name, is Jack Lemmon's son.
Oh, Chris Lemmon.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's his son. So
Was in Thunder in Paradise with Hulk Hogan.
I'm just saying that
There's a legacy.
Oh.
Yeah.
There's a legacy.
There's
There's
hope.
legacy going on.
Yeah.
It's funny. We interviewed Robert Picardo, and this is a good segue. Over the summer at Comic-Con for his new film, Space Command. And he was telling us about how he was on Broadway working with Jack Lemmon. And he was like, that's acting school. Just watching him every
That's
night
amazing.
do some show.
That's
I
amazing.
forgot what the show was they were doing.
I was at a Star Trek convention once, surprise, and I was in line for autographs, and I was going up to Robert Picardo. He signed my Star Trek encyclopedia, and this is Orlando. I'd never been to it. This is my first convention. I just remember walking up to him and him looking at me, and he turning to the side and goes, "I've been watching you in line, and I was wondering when you'd walk over here."
Whoa!
Didn't do that to me when I talked to him.
Oh my God.
It was awesome.
That's
So
amazing.
$20, please.
Exactly. And then as I'm walking away, I can hear him saying, "I was watching you." in line."
You ever seen? Was it Beastmaster? Is also
yes.
Donovan from V, right?
Yeah,
same guy.
Mark Singer. Yeah.
Mark Singer.
Mark Singer. Thank you.
Yeah.
You ever seen him at the Comic-Con?
No, I have not seen him.
He's my favorite guy with the headshots because he is super active. Like the other people just sit there, like super depressed because they're not as popular as they were when they did BG and the Bear or whatever. And but
And his best friend, Bear. Sorry.
But he is like, he's just like, hi, how's it? And he's trying to wrangle people in or whatever, but he's just constantly like, hi,
He's a
hi,
salesman.
how's it going? Hi.
Yeah.
I mean, very much a salesman.
And
yeah.
Richard Hatch is like, just go ahead. Go
Yeah,
walk
exactly,
by.
like,
I know a guy in Florida his name's Mark. You know, he's born with the name Mark, but it's M-A-R-K, and he saw Beastmaster, and he convinced his parents to legally change his name, so it's M-A-R-C. True story.
Oh.
Yeah. He
Nice.
just,
Wow.
yeah.
I thought you were going to say he changed his name to Beastmaster. How
That would have been amazing.
rock star would that be?
That'd be so metal.
Beastmaster. Oh, that's funny. What's your real name? No,
It's Beastmaster.
Here's
Here's
the
my
driver's
license.
license.
Beastmaster.
Beastmaster.
Here's the pot card. It says clearly. All right, so
Great
let's.
cross.
I mentioned Space Command real quick. Now, this is a movie we talked to the director and a couple of stars over the summer at Comic-Con about this movie, and the filming has started, and it features Doug Jones as well as Robert Picardo and Mira Furlan, and we got a set visit.
Yeah.
And so I called Audrey because she's running Geek Girl Authority. I said, this has got to be right up your alley. Come with us. So we all went down, and we talked to Mark Zicree, the director, and we talked to folks we didn't talk to when we were at Comic-Con, including a prop guy and the VFX guy. So let's hear from them in a quick little segment here we put together from our Space Command Redemption.
Hey, and we can MST3K it. We're playing it live here.
Our Space Command Redemption, the first in a series of Space Command movies.
You can't make
Mark's
Redemption
thinking
as your
big.
first movie, but I'm not going to tell him that.
Here, well, he's very enthusiastic and very
He is.
inspiring, and he's
Was.
great to listen to. So let's chime in on that.
Got it. Sam, how are you on those skates?
If we can eliminate it, that'd be great.
We're here with Jeffrey Mark, the visual effects supervisor on Space Command. I imagine there are challenges in working with a budget that's real grassroots.
It's an incredible challenge because this movie, it's bigger than any reasonable budget. It's a huge story, it's a huge movie. A lot of it is going to end up on the visual effects plate. Right now, back of the envelope calculations, we're at 2,500 to 3,000 visual effect shots. I worked on Spider-Man 3, that was 900. I worked on Battlestar Galactica, that maxed out at 100 per hour. So we're at 30 Battlestar Galacticas.
Wow. You blow anything up yet?
I have blown stuff up.
Practical explosions? You did blow stuff up?
So far, we haven't had a special effects day where I get to actually blow up real materials and chemicals, but I hear they're planning one for me.
Gentlemen, Mark is ready to be interviewed.
Cool. Thank you, Jeffrey.
Sure.
All right, sound, you ready? Okay, sound ready.
Where are you right now? We're just finishing principal photography on the first film. We're doing 6 of these to start. So I've written the first 4 Space Command films. I've started writing the 5th. I've outlined the 6th. See, I come from television. And it's good because my friends who are like A-list screenwriters, like, well, maybe I can get a draft done in a year. It's a year, Jesus. You know, in TV, it's like, well, I can get a script written in a week. You know, so it's so I like a big canvas, and you know, so we're shooting today, tomorrow, and Friday. That'll finish principal photography, and then we ramp right into the second film. And I'm the only writer who wrote for both Babylon 5 and Deep Space Nine. And the way it worked on those shows is you have a building, you put spaceship sets in it, you know, and off you go. And so I really love that model. And it's working really well, as you can see.
I'm with the Movie Guys. I actually talked to
Yeah,
Comic-Con.
I remember you.
Taking one of the things you wanted to do with casting, taking it on yourself and not casting some CW whoever.
And I don't mean to rag on the CW, you know. It's but here's the thing.
I want to ask how that's paid off.
It's been great. It's been great. Well, first of all, let me talk to you about how that works. Let's say I decide I want to cast Mira Furlan. How does that work? I call Mira. I say, let's have lunch. Ever since I worked with her on Babylon 5, I wanted to work with her again. She's spectacular. And I said, look, I don't know who your character is going to be yet. This was early in the writing. And I said, but these are the things I do know. She's an archaeologist. She has a very fiery but loving relationship with her daughter, and she is not defined by a man. And she said, I'm in. Because actresses must get so sick of playing the girl that has to fall in love with the hero. So Mira's, I think I've written her a very good role here. She seems to be really liking it.
It must be so attractive. I mean, Gina Torres has a great quote about being a firefly.
Yes.
She said, you know, in science fiction, will give a girl a gun and she can take over the world.
Yes, exactly. Yes, it's true. It's true.
It's interesting that there's such a diversity of storytelling styles that you've referenced, Star Trek and then Babylon 5, that there's a long mythology, but you also come from the Twilight Zone school, which unfolds as a mystery. What is a storytelling style?
Joe Straczynski and I came up together in the industry. He was actually a friend. I met him before he was in television. Michael Reeves and I were writing for animation. So Joe started writing animation for the same shows we were writing.
I believe he wrote for the real Ghostbusters.
Story edited it. So I was hired to develop a show called Captain Power. So I said, listen, I want you to hire someone you've never heard of, who's never story edited a live action show before, and I will guarantee him. And if he can't do the job, I'll step in and do it. And they hired him, and that was Joe Straczynski. And the two producers were Doug Copeland and John Copeland and Doug Netter, who he ended up doing Babylon 5 with. So that's how that happened. I thought what Joe did on Babylon 5 was great because it was a long story, and he knew where it was going, so he could prefigure stuff. So in terms of the style, there are certain mysteries that I plant early on, and they'll be paid off later on, little hints of where we're going.
Without the buckets of money flowing in from the studio or network, is there a shot or a sequence that everybody here just nailed that thrilled you to death that you've done so far?
Yeah. You know, when I was 13, I got a trip to the original Star Trek set. I was on the set of Turnabout Intruder. So every time I'm on these sets, I have that deja vu, that flash of how cool is this. But, you know, we did a scene where there's a ship in danger, and we had lighting effects and smoke and, you know, and people in breathers and the door opening and closing on cue and people coming in, and that was really fun. And then we had this thing when we had the Paladin lit up and shooting on it for the first time. That was a thrill. All the screens working and everything going. It's, you know, it's just been fun. And one of the reasons I'm doing Space Command is because so much of TV and film now is so dark and so hopeless and so dystopic, particularly the science fiction, where it's like there's, you know, and I want to say no. Compassion and love are real. Heroism, bravery, loyalty, honor. These are not Pollyannish. You know, I think that all the good that comes from the world comes from these things. You know, and you can change the world if you just don't let other people stop you, you know?
Settle a bet. Did James Cameron rip off Harlan Ellison?
Well, you know, he certainly watched Outer Limits. He's a big Outer Limits fan. I mean, you know, it's, I was once talking with James Cameron, and he told me he was a big Outer Limits fan. Because, you know, a lot of people were thinking that Rod Serling was ripping them off, too. Here's the thing. here's how it works in science fiction. Let's say you're writing in the old days, let's say you're writing for Galaxy or Astounding, the pulps. And let's say you write a short story and someone does a story that's a riff on your story. It's a level playing field, no one's getting rich. But if you're writing a story for 10 cents a word and some TV writer rips you off or some movie writer rips you off and he's making millions, then you feel ill-used. Because anyone who writes a time travel story with a time machine should be sending some money to the H.G. Wells estate, But so I don't think it was so much he was deliberately ripping him off, but certainly he was inspired by it. I mean, my God, Demon with the Glass Hand and Soldier are both phenomenal episodes, brilliant episodes, Anything else, guys? Anything else? Okay, well, this has been, yay, thanks, guys. Thank you so much for coming. I really
Rolls down.
Seeing 62 Baker, 2 Marker.
And action.
I love how you got hustled off at the end there.
That guy had been circling, because I think Mark could talk forever. I mean,
Yeah.
he just loves talking about movies and science fiction. And that guy that said we need our director, he had been circling for at least 15, 10 minutes trying to insert himself.
Adam didn't see him. He was right behind it.
Yeah, he was just like this. And he finally got enough nerve to say, I need my director.
But he's inspiring, Mark.
Oh,
I think.
he's
I mean, if I were on the set and, what do I do? I'm an actor here. And he came in, and he just started, telling you everything that's awesome about his project. When I'm done, to be like, let's do this.
Yeah,
we
absolutely.
should have set the scene a little bit too. That whole interview was done on the bridge of his sort of Star Trek-like spaceship, the Paladin.
Yeah,
just really fun, and all the panels lit up with different lights and stuff. It was like
he lit them up for the interview. I heard him call for that. Oh, go ahead and light these all up.
Light
And
them
make
up.
These
Yeah,
things
it was
move.
awesome.
Yeah.
So
It sounded better knowing that.
And the reference at the end there is Harlan Ellison supposedly thought that James Cameron had ripped off the idea for the Terminator, and he referred to 2 episodes of Outer Limits that claim comes from, which I've never seen them. I kind of would like to see
Do you
them.
think Gail Ann Hurd wrote the Terminator? I guess she did it with James Cameron. They were married at the time. So
She just produced it. I mean, he really...
She wrote.
Did she?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
She worked on the story. But you know what? Now that you say that, I
I
remember
know it
seeing
was-
her at Comic-Con. I think she did the second draft because James or something like that.
let's go back and talk to Mark again.
Yeah, let's
Did
find out
Gail
the
Ann
truth.
Hurd rip off Harlan?
Yeah.
Settle the bet.
Well, I don't want to complain, but I did hear something in there that perked up my ears. 10 cents a word, Paul. How many scripts have we written for you?
I know, right?
Page. What are we looking at here? How
Pay
long-
up, dude.
Wait till you hear the editing fee. Put the script together. So that's cool. I don't know when the hell Space Command, the first one, Redemption, is going to come out.
He says he's going to go right into shooting the second one? Is
Yeah.
that really
He's
the
doing
plan?
them all back to back, and he's got
Wow.
a trailer out, with Doug Jones. In
Right,
it
because
already.
because you shouldn't try and be episodic with your movies, right? Collider?
Oh, this is the best thing.
I am sitting there and I'm going around asking the other people. There's about maybe 3 or 4 other people besides us, and I'm asking everybody's name and where they work in case I cite them in my article. And I just talked to this girl, and then this guy, Adam. What did you say?
Apparently, I didn't hear where everybody
I didn't
worked
wanna
from.
give it
Let me
away.
back up real quick here. Okay, right after Guardians of the Galaxy came out, this wonderful film, an article came out in Collider, which is a geek site, geek news and that sort of thing. And it basically was saying that we shouldn't serialize movies. Obviously, many years too late. Movies have been serialized way back in the day. They just haven't been lately. But that the connectivity of the Marvel movies, in other words, this car that's making horses, no longer our mode of transportation. There's just no way we should do that. So it's just taking the most modern thing. And basically what it really was, look, Guardians came out. It's completely popular across the board, critically to audience-wise. So you got to find something to say, right? You got to find some way to be. It got to be a critic, which I just hate that. I hate criticism.
So
I guess.
Adam brings up the article and is, remember that article by that guy in Collider, blah, blah, blah. And I just found out this girl was from Collider that was sitting next to me.
Sitting right across.
And I don't know Adam. I know Paul, and I didn't know how to, with telepathically tell you that this, and finally he keeps going on and on.
Oh,
and by the way,
I'm giving it the full Adam. Fuck that website. Fuck those guys.
Yeah, he did. He actually said "fuck Collider," and when it got to that point, and by the way, you are right about that whole thing. She just starts going like this. She's laughing. She's
Yeah.
laughing. And I look at her, and she looks at me, and she just starts laughing. And finally I said, guys, she's from Collider.
But she wasn't pissed.
No, she wasn't.
It was not her
They
article.
Actually, it wasn't her article, and she actually got into a discussion with you guys about it.
Yeah, that was what's funny about it is like when you kind of caught on the carpet, because Paul and I have said for weeks now, I'm like, I'm gonna post that on our Twitter feed, or I'm gonna bring it up on the air or something, and just a discussion over this because I just completely disagree with this article, which is rooting for more Green Lanterns, even though it doesn't know that it is. So this was the perfect way to air it in front of this person from Collider. And the funny moment was like right after that, as soon as she says I'm from Collider, like I didn't back down. Like Paul thought that was really funny.
I was
You
happy
had the
with
best.
that.
Yeah. You did. It wasn't
proud
like,
of you.
Because if you had backed down, I mean, you'd look like an asshole. You'd be the.
Yeah.
You'd be the. But I mean, you were really explaining yourself well, and she was just like, I understand.
Still littered, I think, with
Yeah.
"fuck that guys."
Oh, you know, she was having a beer with her friends that night. Said, you know, this guy today.
And
Did she leave
then
with the
was
card?
so
I hope
great.
she left with the card. So she's
I'm not sure. But then what was so funny is that then it went into whatever and silence, and we went off and
Everybody
did
forgot.
whatever. Then we ended up outside, and I ended up right there with her, and there was like a long silence, and I go, I think the takeaway here is I read the site.
Awesome.
That's fantastic.
And it encourages you to think.
Yeah, right? Yeah.
Encourages. We don't want that.
All right, we started this show out with the latest movie news. Let's look back through my extensive Premiere Magazine collection here in the Admirals Club and
Oh,
check out
sweet.
news from 25 years ago with another edition of Movie Guys Time Capsule. This month we're focused on the September 1989 issue. For those of you
I
watching on
never missed an
YouTube.
issue of this.
Who's on the cover? I can't see.
Kim Basinger.
Oh, all right.
From which movie?
Man, 89. It wasn't.
Batman?
It wasn't.
89.
LA
It'd be Batman.
Confidential. Oh yeah, it would be Batman. You're right.
Thank you.
Yeah.
But it would be just afterwards. So
Up
Batman was a
high.
huge hit.
First time.
And then she's taking. All right, so let me just jump through to the places I found most interesting here. In
I
Premiere.
just
We'll
recognized
kick
her
'em around
hair.
here.
That's how I knew.
Well, I'm thinking of the dirty one. That's what it was about. I was like, no, that's
9 and
early
a half
80s.
weeks.
9 and a half
That's
weeks.
early 80s.
Here's an ad. Are your EP recordings destroying that meaningful relationship you developed with your big screen TV?
Oh.
Are fuzzy images, muted colors, and jitters giving you anxiety? Why cope with problems like these when TDK's new EHG offers reconciliation? It may be difficult to believe, but these dramatically improved video cassettes can give you a 6-hour EP recording that's better than a 2-hour recording on standard tapes.
What? Whoa. Shut up.
So,
They were pricey.
you want to get out and purchase that.
That always reminds me. I want to add this into the box of questions for guests. What were the other two movies on the tape with, some certain movie?
yeah.
Yeah.
Because you could record 3 movies on a tape.
I bought Batman. So that
Oh,
was
well, yeah,
not
Batman
recorded.
I just
yeah,
had.
Batman I owned. Yeah. Bought I bought Batman.
Just looking at that Kim Basinger picture again, it looks like her hand is of a man.
She got man hands?
Oh,
She has a
does
man
have
hand.
man
Isn't
hands.
that
Well,
amazing?
that's pre-Photoshop, right?
Yeah, it's just a big veiny hand. It's amazing.
Yeah. Which
It's just great.
is
It's
real.
flipping through this. It was just great that there was a whole movie magazine.
Oh,
Yeah.
Premiere
Don't
was
have
the bomb.
Magazines all about movies anymore. Here, speaking of the devil, here's an ad for Revlon featuring Connie Selica.
Nice.
No way.
You say it here, it comes out there.
Now, what's going on in movie news?
Who?
In
She was
89?
married to
Well, a
Buck
giant
Rogers,
smoking
right?
ad, first of all.
Yeah.
No camel.
A giant
Camel.
camel looking like a cock.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Save your camel points.
What was okay, so the argument was that they
does.
made his face look
Like a penis.
with
Yeah,
balls in it.
Yeah.
And a
Okay,
vagina
and
mouth.
clearly it was intentional.
Yeah, why does that
Vagina
make us
mouth.
want to?
Yeah.
Why would you want to smoke?
Why does
because
that
of a-
make you want to smoke
I
cigarettes?
don't
That is a weird sexualization, right?
I never got that until someone told me, but I don't know if it played on my subconscious or if that's what they were aiming for.
Oh, maybe because you sucking on the cigarette like you'd be sucking on the guy's dick.
I don't know.
But think
Sucking on a
if the
camel.
Well,
Marvel.
that would be Virginia
Right?
Slims then, not
Right.
Camel. Was
Or
Camel a gay guy
stogie.
cigarette?
A nice
No.
thick
No,
stogie?
okay.
No.
Well, what if they put an artificial nose on the Marlboro Man to make it look a little bit like a cock? Like, there's no reason that doesn't. You're like, oh, that's clearly a brand for me.
Here they've got profiles of actors like John Turturro, who's probably going to go
wow.
somewhere, and Andy Garcia, going to probably go.
And Catherine Grody.
Catherine Grody, anybody?
Who's Catherine Grody?
Who is she?
Does it say?
She was in the Lemon Sisters
Which I don't
There you
remember. I don't think I saw that.
with Diane Keaton. No, there's
Diane
that.
Keaton I've heard of.
And then
I think I've heard of
an
him.
actor by the name who is in a Jim Jarmusch film. His name is Rocket's Red Glare.
No.
Oh, he
Remember
was
that guy?
Is he a porn
He was a
actor?
Warhol guy.
Yeah, he's got nasty teeth.
Wow.
Yeah, he was an Andy Warhol factory.
And there's my god,
I
this
think.
movie magazine is just the greatest thing in the world. A ton of photos by Douglas Kirkland. I mean, these great shots of Marilyn and Nicholson.
Oh, those are great.
Those are pretty great.
Yeah, and Margaret and Audrey Hepburn. I mean, these great photos.
I've never seen
full
any of
page
those.
stuff.
And
that you just
Margaret's
don't
in The
get
Great
in-
Race.
She is. You're right.
She
you're right.
sings.
And finally, there's a big article in the back. Why do reviewers insist on giving away plot points?
Oh.
Nothing's changed in 25
For
years.
what plots did they mention?
The Big Chill. Somebody's all pissed that they gave away parts of The Big Chill. But, some things never change. You think Premiere would have got to the bottom of that? Shook up the industry and stopped that from happening, but no, they still give it all away.
Oh, my goodness.
Wow, that is crazy.
All right, let's put away the time capsule. There we go.
I love that all we have in our time capsule are
Premiere
copies of
magazine.
Premiere. That's very Movie Guys.
I got a few Hollywood Reporters, but back in the day it was all print. There were
Oh,
cool
man.
photos.
I love that Premiere magazine.
But now it's time for a quick round of...
What did you see this week?
Karen and I celebrated an anniversary, so we're flipping around Netflix for something to watch. Landed on Don John.
Oh.
Ooh.
Because we
How'd
haven't
that go?
seen it yet. It was
Joseph
fast and
Gordon-Levitt.
sharp and funny.
Gotta love him.
Visually great. I thought he had a really great eye for directing and storytelling visually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Visually.
But a little unsatisfying in
Ah.
that it kind of veers off and tells a different story the second half.
Does it
Which I
kinda-
like
yeah.
too, but I just think that would have been a different movie.
Yeah.
What's the second story? Because he's fallen in love
Julianne
with
Moore.
Scarlett Johansson, right?
Did you know Julianne Moore is in the movie?
Did not.
Not at all.
That's a whole nother thing.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
There's a whole other subplot that becomes a plot.
In a way, in a way, it is satisfying from a woman's point of view, and that makes me just like him more. What's his name?
Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Joseph Gordon-Levitt. Here, your
You'll
man
love
crush.
it, love it.
He takes a movie that when we saw the trailer, we thought it was kind of interesting that she was into chick movies.
Yeah.
And then he was into porn.
Oh,
So
what
that
was
would
Julianne
be.
Moore into?
Well, that's the thing. They didn't really spend much time at all with the idea that she liked chick movies, and it pretty much just turned into Scarlett Johansson became the bad guy, and he found himself and realized that love is actually about communicating with somebody and then having sex with them, which was totally foreign to him, and he accidentally found that out with her, and so it became like a chick flick, which he was making fun of for Scarlett Johansson watching.
In all
What does that
fairness,
I liked it.
if
I
you've
liked it.
watched enough porn, there are a lot of chicks in it.
Yes, but are they connecting with you
I don't know.
on a
Connecting?
level that you are
On Lee's
There.
level,
Yeah,
yes.
Yes.
On a scrotum level.
on a scrotum
Scrotal level.
It turns into a chick flick, I think.
Interesting. Now, do we get to see any of her nakedness?
Who?
They have sex.
Scarlett.
Oh, no.
Oh no.
Oh, no.
No.
Nope, that was all saved for that one movie nobody saw. No,
Yeah.
But
that
that
wasn't sexy.
But that's pretty good though that it's making fun of chick flicks and then he ends up. It's almost like Boomerang, right? I mean,
I
does
think I
does
might
it
be-
play itself?
I think I
confidently
might
that
be
way to
reading
enjoy it?
into that.
Oh, okay.
I think that might be my
Oh.
thought on it.
You're a very
Gotcha.
smart woman. I
Thank
think you
you.
could be
But
right.
still, the best
Thank
parts.
you.
He makes a good Jersey dope, a Jersey
Yeah.
Shore typey guy, and his whole Tony Danza is good as his
Oh,
dad,
that's
and
right.
Glenn
Yeah.
Headley as his mother. They're all good, so it's good casting and all that. But the story just kind of wavers a little bit and doesn't end up being quite as satisfying, even though the overall production is sharp and funny. Anybody else? What'd you see?
I saw Guardians of the Galaxy
I saw
For
it
the first
again
time?
too.
for the first time.
And you said for the third?
Third.
Yeah.
I saw the
with 7-year-old.
15. Is it 15 or 20 minute preview? Remember we saw that a couple weeks ago,
Mhm.
and I
That
loved.
was like a couple of months ago.
Oh my
That's why
god!
we had to get you out to see Guardians.
It was so good. I loved it. And I was like, oh, I can't wait to see this movie. I don't know if I agree with that anymore because I
You
love the
didn't like it?
characters. I love the characters, and I love the way they interacted, and I love the heart, and I almost cried. I didn't know what was going on. I didn't know what the story was, and that really irritated me. They talked about people that I didn't know who they were, and then some guy with a big head, and I didn't know who he was. And I
Wait,
didn't know.
wait, but you could say that about Darth Vader. And then there's
I
a guy,
know exactly
a guy dressed in
what
black
was,
comes
no,
in
no, no, no.
thing.
I know exactly
You
what
could
was
do that.
going
You
on.
write that
I know
off the
that
same way.
no, Darth. I knew what was going on with Star Wars. I knew exactly.
But it's just as simple. There's
no,
a,
it's not.
A guy's
It is
invading
not.
a planet. It's going to kill all
No,
the people.
there-
Better
no, no,
not
no.
kill people.
I think Paul and I
There's a
talked
brother
about
of
this.
somebody else, and there's blue people and brown people and green people, and
Karen?
It's not clear.
I got lost with the names.
Thank you.
Yeah, like I couldn't remember who
It would have been better if they made it simpler.
Zathura was.
Yeah.
Like,
Zamora.
Thank you. So I
Yeah,
kept Zamora. I kept forgetting
But you
who
know
he
she's
was.
the green chick.
Gamora.
No.
Yeah.
No, who's the blue guy?
Who's
What
the
was
blue guy? Why do we care about the blue guy? With the
That's,
big
I say
face?
Zamora.
Yondu.
Yeah, see, Yondu and Zamora were the two. Yeah, I got
But I
confused.
mean, who's the Emperor in Empire Strikes Back? I mean, it's a bunch of stuff like that sort of cursorily
Palpatine?
matters, you know.
But I liked the movie. I think it just was too convoluted for its own good.
But I thought it was extreme. You know, those are like words that are in the movie. But in terms of like the motions, I think that's all, especially the characters' motions. It's all very crystal clear. The reason I think the movie is so genius, and I think really a really good movie, is that all of the conflict, most of the conflict, at least in the body of the movie, is generated by the characters' flaws. So when
But I agree. I just think that the characters are the best part of the movie. I wish I knew what was happening.
But most of the rest is a little bit of a MacGuffin. It doesn't really matter why
what
he's
matters? Yeah, and what matters like
destroying
like
the planet.
when Rocket has his like outburst and he's talking about being different. It's like what you're saying. Everybody with their flaws.
Yeah, that's why
and
the
everything.
15-minute version was better.
I was brought to tears on that. I don't agree with you.
Yeah,
Volpe.
because I knew they were trying to get out of prison, and I could follow that.
It was.
I didn't know why, but
a
I knew they were
ragtag
trying.
group of misfits.
Yeah, I love that.
Taking on evil. I've never read any of the Guardians of the Galaxy.
Nobody
comics.
has.
Nobody
Yeah,
has.
that's
They're
what I'm
so
saying.
new. It's,
But I still completely.
Well, you know Patrick
Got it.
Peters, right? Or we go back to Universal together
Yes,
with
yes.
Patrick.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, and I was explaining to him, and it's not without its convolution to say that, well, they're looking for an Infinity Stone that Ronan and is trying to get for Thanos, whose daughters Nebula and Gamora are trying to get because he's.
I think you're making Karen's point.
Ronan is a Kree that went against the treaty against Xandar and wants to destroy them, but the Ravagers with Yondu. There's a lot.
There is a lot.
But hold on. Those are all words. The actual motivations of all those people are crystal clear. It's crystal clear that Yondu is getting screwed over by Star-Lord.
If
right?
you know
That
who
they made a
Yondu
deal.
is.
No, that's not crystal clear. I
When
don't
he comes
know
on
who
the screen and
Yondu
says,
is.
"Yeah, all right." I mean,
You know that
come
the
on.
guy.
So, you got to be able to follow some of those names.
I'm telling
when
you.
a guy comes on,
I
and
need you to
they call him
listen to me.
Yondu. That's Yondu.
Adam, I watched the movie
When he came
and
on
I
the
didn't
screen,
know
I'm
what was
sure you know
happening.
exactly what
You
it
can
was.
argue all you want, but you can't get in my head and tell me that that's wrong.
Yes, I can.
I'm in your head now, man.
Well,
That I
okay.
liked it. It was just confusing.
I'm just saying that
there
I
you
don't think the movie gets enough credit for for not being so out in the universe of Marvel, because nobody really knows much of the mythology that they're spinning there. Like, that's in the comics, and I do know some of that, but I just don't think it's required to enjoy the movie. But.
I agree, and that's why they should have made it clearer. I don't need to have a history with Star Wars to know what was happening.
Yeah.
I think it does get plenty of credit. I mean, the 98% of
Yeah,
critics,
you said
$300
earlier
million.
in the show that everybody loved it except for that person at that magazine. So obviously everybody liked it.
Yeah.
All right, time's ticking away. Let's get to the grand finale. Does anyone have anything else they saw?
I saw a movie called The Machine with Katie Lutz from that Black Canary on Arrow, and she's on Mad Men.
Don't know that one.
Oh, it's kind of. I think they ripped off the soundtrack from Blade Runner because it's a whole Vangelis kind of thing. But it's about it's the trope where man makes machine to fill in a hole in his life. Machine starts to get feelings. Government takes machine for their own evil purposes.
Oh.
Then
That
machines,
old story.
And then machines think about taking over the world. But it's really well done. It's an indie movie, I think, that takes place in Wales. And
What's it called?
The Machine.
The Machine.
Yeah, it's like the
Very
West
aptly
is at
named.
war with China in the future.
Does
and
the machine start as a sexily voiced app that just helps him organize his
Yes.
day?
Yes. Yes.
Perfect.
Well, at least I
So
got
they go to war with China, so it's not a too distant future.
Exactly.
Okay.
China's taking over the world.
Kind of
which
right
is
around the corner
already-
future.
Yeah. But anyway, I that's a good rental.
Okay. If you rent it and it has Christian Bale, you've accidentally rented The Machinist.
Yes. Right.
Which is different.
Which
Okay.
is much
so just make sure you
different.
know what you're getting there.
Yeah.
What do you got there, Karen? You got the birthdays?
I got birthdays. Moving along.
Apparently he wants to fucking
No.
get somewhere.
It's hot in here.
The whorehouse is closing at 11. Let's go.
All right. right, let's start off our week of birthdays by wishing a happy birthday to Linda Hamilton.
Happy birthday, Linda Hamilton.
Thank you.
Sarah
Turns
Connor.
57, but can play anywhere from a movie star to a made-for-TV movie star.
Oh.
She started off her career in made-for-TV movies and is currently on Defiance on the Sci-Fi Network.
Yes, she is.
She is
not aware of
often
that. I didn't
cast
know
as
that.
tough-as-nails woman who can overcome struggle and grief, but she says about herself, "My heart is so light, it's amazing. I get to play all this grief and all this loss and disaster and chaos. It's hysterically funny. I'm very light. I'd say I'm a Lucy Ricardo trapped in somebody else's body." Because when you think of Linda Hamilton, you immediately think,
I love
Lucy. But did you know that she was not the first choice? No, for Sarah Connor in The Terminator. It was originally cast with Paul's girlfriend, Deborah Winger, who backed out at the last minute. And then Glenn Close, who backed out.
Those are much bigger names than her at that time.
Yeah, and others in the running who auditioned and were being considered were Melanie Griffith, Jennifer Jason Leigh, Gina Davis, Jodie Foster, and Tatum O'Neal.
They had a long list.
Yeah, a pretty long list, but she still got it.
Good on Linda Hamilton coming out of nowhere.
Linda Hamilton
Right?
wasn't known at all. Those were all.
I think that's what
somewhat
makes
names,
Sarah
I
Connor
think.
so great is that you didn't have any celebrity overshadowing.
Gentlemen at the
The role.
table,
Yes.
question for the gentleman. Hot or not, Linda Hamilton?
Hot.
Yeah, hot.
Yeah, okay.
Stuck in 80s hair a little
Girls
bit.
can
First
answer
of
that.
the
She's
Terminator.
a
Oh,
man
see, I
chin.
find that a little sexy.
It's a little manly.
Mansion.
Little man chin.
Here's something that has nothing to do with her birthday, but I'm sure she wouldn't mind if I mentioned it because it was amazing. I will read to you.
If she has
right-
any problems, she can come on here and talk.
Yeah. Movie Guys.
She'd like to refute any of this.
Yeah.
FYI, everyone, I saw this when I was reading up about the Terminator. O.J. Simpson was passed over for the role of the Terminator because producers feared he wouldn't be taken seriously as a killer.
Yahtzee.
Wonderful.
Yahtzee.
Oh.
Well, the
Thank
LA
you.
District Court didn't take him seriously as a killer.
That's pretty great.
Evidently, they were right.
It's been proven in a court of law you can't take him seriously as a killer.
So happy birthday, Linda. And next up, let's wish a happy birthday to Brad Bird, who turns 57 as well, but can play anywhere from a live-action director to an animated film director. He is known for his work on what feature animated movies? Anybody? Yell them out.
The Iron Giant.
The Incredibles.
Ratatouille.
Yes.
Wait, these are all correct answers?
Yeah. Isn't this amazing?
But we're still
And-
guessing.
He's been an amazing.
Is that it for animated?
No.
Up,
Another
Toy Story
and
3,
Beaches. Beaches was his big hit with. No.
I watch out.
It was Beaches.
Did he
No,
write
I don't
that?
have that.
That's
It
the
might have
ultimate
been,
chick flick.
but I didn't put it on there. Monsters University. He likes, as we can tell from these, to use unknown voice talent. And in The Incredibles, he provided the voice for the character Edna Mode on a temp track. Then they brought in Lily Tomlin, who was approached to do the role, but she turned it down after listening to Brad's scratch track, stating the right voice had already been found.
Oh, wow, that's
So
amazing.
he tried
Write
to
that down
hire
as
a
a sto-
celebrity, and he's still unknown his own voice. He
he
didn't
also
mean to.
Write that down as a Lily Tomlin story where she comes off nice.
Yes. So unlike her.
Yeah, right?
John
She's
Carter
like-
of Mars, too, right? Is that him?
That was Andrew Stanton.
Oh, Andrew
Yeah,
Stanton.
different Pixar guy, but yeah.
He has been once referred to by some as the modern-day Walt Disney.
His
He
next-
does
Happy
not
birthday.
like Jews, apparently.
He's a
so
Nazi.
he's anti-Semitic.
Union busting.
I don't
Yeah.
want to jump ahead, but are you going
Oh.
on to what he's got coming up?
No, go ahead.
He's making a film called Tomorrowland with George Clooney.
Shut up.
Speaking
About
of Walt Disney.
Walt Disney?
I did not know
I'm
that.
not sure. I don't know what it's about, but
Wait,
Clooney and Brad Bird, I'm going. 'Cause,
Doesn't Clooney play Walt Disney with the pencil-thin mustache?
it's Hanks.
That's what I was
Pencil-thin
thinking. Thank you for
mustache.
But
thank you for-
Tomorrowland is a
Unless he
ride
played
at
Walt
the
Disney.
park, right?
Yeah.
It is. It's
They're
a land.
adapting more
It's
rides.
a whole section.
It's a whole land.
Magical
It's a
land
whole
at the
section.
park.
How did you
And
know,
of course,
Paul?
his last movie was his last live-action movie was Mission Impossible: Ghost Protocol.
Oh, that's right.
So Brad Bird is
Really good.
quite a kick-ass director.
Yeah, I
not
didn't know who
suck.
he was. I just kind of clicked on, and when I saw that he had done all this, I felt kind of bad that I didn't know it was him. So, trying to give him some kudos because wow, he's done some crazy
Yeah.
shit.
And Clooney played Walt Disney with a pencil-thin mustache in Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? Look it up.
And finally, let's wish a happy birthday to Mark Hamill, who turns 62 years old
Mark
today,
Hamill.
but can play anywhere from a squeaky clean hero of the galaxy to one of the most well-known villains of all time, the Joker. Do you know how Mark Hamill got the role of Luke Skywalker? Anybody? You know the story about why he auditioned?
I don't.
No.
This is crazy.
You hear so much about Harrison
I have the
Ford.
audition tapes
Yeah.
that I found at a Comic-Con. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. He, his friend Robert Englund, Freddy Krueger,
wow.
Nightmare on Elm Street, he wanted to get into movies, and so he auditioned for some part for a Luke Skywalker character in Star Wars. Well, he didn't win the role during his audition, but he thought, you know who should be auditioning for this? So he told his friend Mark Hamill. He spoke to him briefly about the role and said, you should go in there and audition. So he did, and I guess the rest is history. So we have England to thank for all that.
This story does not help any parent or uncle or aunt that looks at us and always says, you know what you should do?
Yeah.
You should be in Star Wars. You should get into movies. Yeah. That's what this story was.
And he did, and he got the part.
Hey, you should audition for a movie.
You should go to LA.
And then Englund, this is great. He went on, and his first film ended up being Eaten Alive.
But let me bring it back to Paul.
Paul Preston?
Oh, please.
Paul Preston.
And then I'd like to bring back Robert Englund. But go ahead.
Is Mark Hamill a good actor?
Yes. I'll tell you why. Because if you watch the Star Wars trilogy close to one another, you can really see the arc of the character.
So he got better.
Because when he's doing the Tachi Station bit, you're like, what a douche. But then just keep watching.
But he's
2 hours
supposed to be a
later,
douche, right? At
2
that
hours
point,
later,
yeah.
he's on Endor kicking the hell out of everybody. And his storyline in Return of the Jedi is the best of the three. Endor's nutty. You know, the space battle's great, but the Darth Luke stuff going on with the Emperor Palpatine is the best part of that movie, I think.
Okay, you had that answer ready, so I know that you believe that
He's
fervently.
growing a beard for the new movie.
Hamill
So
spoke
excited.
briefly about his role in the next installment of Star Wars franchises, pointing out that he's really playing second fiddle to new actors. It's really about the next generation of characters. We're just there to lend support and grow contractually obligated beards.
Yeah, because he's like Obi-Wan now.
Doing an
He's got-
Obi-Wan.
yeah.
It's going to be so exciting to see him with a beard.
Now, wait, that being said, my little
Yes.
story about
Sure.
Mark Hamill. He hasn't done much else to really show whether he's a great actor. I mean, he's done a ton of voiceover and things
He's
like that.
done a bunch of voice. Okay.
But
Well,
it's
he's the
not
Joker on the Batman animated series, and
Yeah.
I think the video games.
And Lee, you know how much I love when celebrities sing.
It's what keeps me up at night.
Well, Lee, I went and I dug through to hear if we could find some Mark Hamill singing, and of course we did. As the Joker from the Batman series
Sweet.
Arkham City, singing "Only You."
I can't wait.
You have one missed call. Call received 3 hours ago.
Only you
He's so good.
can make this world seem right. Only you can make the darkness bright.
And that wraps another movie showcast, everybody. All right, follow us on Twitter at The Movie Guys, on Facebook.com/The Movie Guys, as well as on YouTube, iTunes, SoundCloud, Vine, Instagram, all that stuff. Thanks to Audrey Kearns.
Thanks for having me. That was so fun.
Give us a real quick what you can find over at GeekGirlAuthority.com.
Geek Girl 30, you can catch all the geekly, nerdly geek news of the day, like castings, movie reviews, and we also have several podcasts. We have one called that I do where I interview what I like to call geek patriots, called Kneel Before Odd. And I got 16 episodes so far. It does really well on iTunes. It's just one-on-one interviews with a person from the geeky world. And I also have a podcast called Polecats and lots of other stuff. And so come on by and check it out.
What first got you down the road to geekery?
My nerd origin story is is being overseas with no friends that spoke my language and playing make-em-ups with my sister. And shortly after that fantasy world, that kind of escapist fantasy world. And then, of course, Star Wars came out. Even though, if I was to pick between Star Wars and Star Trek, I'm major Trekkie. But Star Wars, I think, opened the gate for, everybody. I think we were talking about that the other day. That was your nerd origin, too, with Star Wars, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dad took me to see it.
Mm-hmm.
That was it.
Yep.
I wanted to be Han Solo.
Yeah. I think for a lot of people I'm older than you. I'm 75. For a lot of people that generation.
You look great for 75.
I know.
Was it Wizard of Oz that first brought you around to geekery when you saw it in the theater?
It was the fantasy aspect of it.
Them talkies got me hooked.
Yeah. All right. So
Thank you for
thank you for coming on. Thank you for Steve Scholes for all of his writing contributions to the show every week. And remember, you can find everything we're up to at themovieguys.net. We'll be back next week as we venture into the October films, including David Fincher's Gone Girl.
Oh, boy.
Which I can't wait to see.
That looks so disturbing.
And we will see you then.
Hey, Karen, do you know the name of the character that Mark Hamill plays in Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back?
Ooh, I don't know.
Cockknocker.
That's kind of perfect.
Does he really?
Yeah.
Hey,
I
kids,
love
it's
it.
Mark Hamill. I thought he played himself.
Oh, that's a funny one. Actually, he has a really funny comic beat because he goes, "Why do they call you Cockknocker?" And he goes, "Actually, it's a very interesting story." And then he just punches him in the balls.
Hey, Lee, do you know what you should Name your one-man show that you have coming up.
Cockknocker.
No.
What?
Scrote Dropper.
And how did you know I had a one-man show coming up?
Teaching people how to keep their
Karen, sing it.
I know things.
Wait, let's do
Dropper.
Let's do plot libs again. At some point, just say Scrote Dropper when asked for a noun.
That is a noun.